Hello everybody and welcome to Game Milwaukee. We are here with Akko.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty well, yourself?
Yeah, this is our first episode. How you guys feeling?
I'm honored.
Ready.
So for those of us watching who don't know much about how you guys came to be, tell us about that.
I was kind of in a band in high school. Not really. We played like 2 shows, and then I was like, I hate this actually. But he said he was in a band, and they actually needed a rhythm guitarist, and I said, I can do that. In January, we finally got together, and we started playing together, and Mark was in that band. And then later on, this mutual friend of ours, just didn't work out, which seems to be sort of a pattern with us.
Because you guys had a few rotating members, but you two are the core too, right?
One of those things where when it didn't work out with the other guy that I was playing with before, it was like the day we found out that he didn't want to play with us anymore. Like we sat down in one of the residence halls at Marquette, just like frustrating, like just eating pasta or whatever. But then after like 10 minutes, we're like, so when do you want to get together and learn more? Or like,
yeah, it never really crossed, at least my mind, to stop playing with you.
Yeah,
we clearly have something.
You two have a really crazy fun dynamic. You guys gotta tell us about that because I think it's a lot more than people realize.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most common thing we get when we're out in public is like, oh, are you dating? Because it's like very naggy and back and forth, and there's just like a lot of like jokes or whatever. I think also the dynamic could be like brother sister, and I think brother sister is kind of where we think of it as more than obviously he's like I always say like he's like my husband because we live together and we don't have sex.
One of the things I really thought was, as an observer, like we talked about, was that you guys have a sound and a vision that goes beyond gender, it goes beyond race, and it goes beyond even sexuality. How do you keep up with that? I think, especially in a world that's dominated by straight white men with bands, how do you, stay out of the curve like you do?
In terms of identity and, for me being, all the categories you can put me into, I'm kind of supremely aware that I am, like, especially when it comes to like my whiteness. I try to be like very, very aware when I'm conducting myself and when I'm writing and making sure that like, and I think all it really takes is you don't have to be like this like PC culture, whatever. You just have to be aware that the words you say and the actions you take have consequences, and not just for you but for the people around you. So I think like especially the most outward thing you notice about a person, the first thing you notice is maybe their gender and then their skin color, and so the having that dynamic around you is really interesting to try to navigate through.
Yeah.
But I think just trying to listen to other people's experiences is really important.
Right, because I noticed that just being a very diverse group as you are in general, people are going to try to put you in boxes, whether it's the way you guys look or your sound. And I know we were talking earlier, and you had a certain name for your type of sound because that question kept coming up. Tell us about that.
The Gabby coin term was trash lord indie pop.
It's guitar-based indie pop. Sometimes we have a harder rock sound, but I think if you were to take like everything and collapse it down, indie pop's a pretty good, I don't know, name. But the trash lord part is partially a joke. It's partially a joke, but
did it stick?
yeah, it sort of was the first thing that rolled off my tongue, and then I went, wait, I kind of like that.
I think it's interesting how people always are expecting a certain, like we talked about, fit you into one category or word, but you have fun with it sometimes, it seems, because you guys know you can't just fit into one word or one category.
I think and with all the musician friends that we have, the question that we all hate the most is, what kind of music do you play? Because like we get it. It's really easy to want to classify something, and like if someone's like, oh, you're in a rock band, you kind of have like a preconceived notion of what that's going to be. But sometimes we're not always sounding like a rock band, you know? So can you say you're just a rock band?
Music and identity kind of go hand in hand. Like, it's the same thing. Like, people are like, oh, well, you're like a straight Filipino guy. And that's like, these are your categories, you know? People like will take you and try to fit you into whatever boxes they can fit you in. And it kind of sucks at sometimes. Sometimes you can find comfort in like having that group because you know that there are other people in that group. And I think sometimes that's the best way to cope with other people trying to put you in a box is just find the other people in the box and go, you know what, we're all in this together, and at least within our group we can recognize the diversity between us.
Last thing I want to talk about particularly is you guys have done festivals, shows. You guys are all over the place with albums, and you have music now on iTunes, Spotify. What else? Help me out. You guys have been all over the place, just larger than life. How has that journey been moving?
Playing on like the Miller Lite stage on the Summerfest grounds, that was like cloud nine for sure. Playing on 88.9, just maybe even further than that, because I've been listening to 88.9 since I was a little kid, like since I was 12. And then, hey, we're playing on it, or that's our song on the radio, whatever it was. It's just, whenever we get to do something new, specifically together, it feels really good.
It's crazy, like, how far we've come and how far I think we have yet to go, and the amount of hard work it took.
I don't think a lot of people see that. They just, see the show component, and it's just like, there's a lot of work that goes to getting as far as you have. So what's happening next?
Well, we just released an EP called
Everything is okay.
I had to swallow a little.
Okay. No, you forgot or what the deal was.
Everything's okay. Just released that late last month, and gonna be playing a bunch of shows with that. And then just some more shows coming up in August, and then writing more songs.
You always want to be, approaching some, ideal, and not that you'll ever reach it, but I think it's always good to always try to take it one step further, make it better.
Growing together. The big thing is, like, when we started Everything Is Okay, we were in a very different place than we are now. We started a while ago, like almost.
I'd say a year and a half ago is when the first songs started getting written for the EP. Yeah,
but we've had our own personal ups and downs. We've had our big fights with things going on in our life. I wanted the inpatient to take care of a lot of the mental health issues that I have going on. But now I'm kind of out of that. While there are still struggles, I'm in a good place now, and a lot of it is because of her. A lot of it is okay, when stuff was going on with me when it was getting tough, it wasn't like, hey, listen, jam. It was like she came to Inpatient. I didn't even know. She came to the place and just sat there with me. So beyond the band, we're best friends, and that's the most important thing. When it's not working musically,
we're best friends.
I won't do that.
Well, I think on the regards of mental health, there's the fact that everyone can be affected by it. I think especially the people of color community, there's a bit of a, we're still coming to terms with that. And I think and also being an artist, that's a big thing with mental health. A lot of artists fall prey to, from what I've seen. So you think about those things a lot, especially.
When I grew up around with all my friends or whatever, you didn't talk about your feelings too much. Just because you didn't. There's a huge stigma behind talking about your feelings now. And I feel like all we do in our songs is talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
And the songs on Everything's Okay, while it touches on some pretty heavy things for us, and it can be serious, the reviews we've gotten for it, people are saying it sounds fun and fresh.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Like having people say like, "Oh, these songs are so fun," and it's like if you look at the lyrics, it's not that. I mean, not that they don't sound fun, because I think maybe writing them, a lot of times the music comes first instead of the words, and you just like, even if you're writing a happy song, your heart is like, oh my god, I don't want to do this right now. Like, I'm going through all this stupid emotional turmoil. I just broke up with my girlfriend. It's so sad.
Yeah, we had some of that when we started.
Yeah, I think that's this whole. Everything Was Okay, I think, was a really good title for it, because it's, you know, maybe one of those things where it's not entirely true. Everything's okay. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, and it's also kind of representative of a little bit of maturity. You know, we're not naive enough to think that it's going to be okay all the time. But like, right now it's good. You know, right now it's really good.
Okay, here we have a bowl of questions. Everyone's gonna draw one. Go ahead.
Alright.
I can't read, just to warn you.
And I can't write, so there might be some, so bear with us. Go ahead.
No, Mark goes first.
Okay.
I've decided.
Okay, answer this. You should answer this first. I'm happiest when blank.
I am happiest when I am in my own room, maybe with a couple close friends, and we're all sitting on my bed, and there's snacks, and we're maybe watching a movie and just having good life talks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were expecting that to be a one-word answer, but listen, life's more complicated than that.
How about you,
that
Mark?
line is there's plenty of space.
How about you, Mark?
I'm happiest when I'm in a car, listening to music with friends, and not thinking too much. That's when I'm happy. Like, I'm paying attention to the road, but like, you get what I mean.
I love how simple you guys are.
Mark's, just like for the record, Mark is one of the world's worst drivers. It is terrifying. You are personally responsible for at least 75% of the stereotype about Asians being bad drivers.
But I have not gotten into a car accident.
That's like, but did you die? That's exactly Mark.
I just drive.
That's exactly Mark.
I drive too fast.
It's so terrifying. I feel like we're gonna murder a pedestrian every time we go out in the car.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. What's the craziest rumor you have heard about yourself?
Someone asked, like, it was about us, like, dating. It was just like, oh, so what was it like having sex with Gabby? And I was like,
Awesome. It's awesome.
it's probably great, but there you go.
About that.
Someone flat out asked you that.
Yeah,
Point blank?
I get it, like, you get drunk and you kind of just say things, but
Were they serious?
I couldn't tell. I don't think I answered and just laughed. So that probably
did not
That
help.
flamed the fire.
Yeah, that probably would not have helped at all.
People not believe that you're lesbian? Is that a thing still? Or?
I mean, I
just
do like boys sometimes, but
Okay.
like I like the
Mistake.
world's girliest boys, and so I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm like 90% there, and then
So where are you on the spectrum? Just for
yeah,
the
like
question's
Kinsey
sake.
scale. What is the gay side of the Kinsey scale?
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Is
I just
7
know I'm not
the gay
good.
side? Because 7 is the gay side of the Kinsey scale. I'm like a 6.
Okay.
But like every once in a while, I'll see a boy and I'll be like, he's fine. But I also am constantly walking around like, every girl is so pretty.
There are a lot of guys that I consider really pretty, but
Yeah, we talk about this a lot actually. How everyone is a little gay.
I think we're on the same page because I'm like, those are some really beautiful women.
Yeah,
Very beautiful women out there.
but yeah, we're very committed to our girlfriends though.
There you go. Well, it has been so much of a great experience for me personally having you guys. You guys were one of the first people I thought of to start this off.
Thank you. This is fun.
Thank you for being here. And once again, you can check out music from Akko on iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, everywhere. There's no excuse. Check them out. And that's it. See you guys later. Next time on Gay Milwaukee.
Like start jumping like it's a mosh pit, or they'll start clapping my hand, or they'll come over and start like shaking or doing something or doing. I know how to do the floss now. Somebody show me how to do it.